Gentlemen, welcome everybody to our sixth webinar, the third in English language. I'm Stefano Pernetti. I'm part of Decsa sales department, and I deal with the sale of spare parts and after sales service. First of all, please switch off the microphone and camera to avoid interferences. And if someone doesn't hear my voice, write it in the chat section and we'll try to solve the problem in real time. And if during my relation there is some point for which you need clarification, write your question and I reply at the end of this webinar. As you know, the life of any machine depends on proper maintenance, and a cooling tower, an evaporative condenser, and an evaporative cooler are certainly no exception. Today's webinar will focus on this, and especially the ordinary maintenance activities to be carried out on our models called CFR-C and REF-C. The CFR-C model is a closed-circuit evaporative condenser made of Z725 galvanized steel with centrifugal fans, suitable for applications in industrial refrigeration. The REF-C model is a closed-circuit evaporative cooler made of Z725 galvanized steel with centrifugal fans too, designed for cooling water without contaminating it with the atmosphere and suitable for industrial applications, conditioning, and power generation. Both models consist of an upper exchange section and a lower centrifugal fan section with a basin section for the water collection. From this section, the list of activities to be carried out will begin. Ordinary maintenance activities are performed when machine downtime is foreseen, and all of this is scheduled from the needs of those who manage the plant. For example, if we talk about a plant that goes to serve the conditioning of a hospital or a shopping center, the cooling tower is operational for about 8 months per year. So the remaining period can be used to carry out all the checks and the extraordinary maintenance, you know. If the tower is a part of an industrial plant operating 12 months per year, a few consecutive days of downtime are usually expected to carry out maintenance activities. But it would be good to organize to have a few more hours outside the expecting downtime. This because some periodic activities require more than just one annual intervention. For example, the greasing of the bearings must be carried out every 4 months or 3,000 operating hours. Same goes for the control of the belts. I remind you that these activities talk about an hour per unit, and in the meantime, the inlet water system can remain operating for maintain a partial refrigeration. Let's start by checking the centrifugal transmission. Obviously, the work must be done by a qualified technician and the motor must be switched off and the area must be closed following all the safety rules. To assess it, you need to remove the protection grids, unscrewing the bolts that fit them to the unit. The size of the bolts may change according to the age of the unit. However, we are talking about 10 or 13 wrench or a screwdriver with a socket of this size. Now we can start checking the belts by the procedure as following. As you can see, the wheelbase T is the distance between the center of the two pulleys. This distance must be reported perpendicularly on the belt and then calculate its middle point. At this point, we connect with a tensiometer, this device, to push the belt away from the near one by 1.6 centimeter if the wheelbase T is 1 meter long, 3.2 the double centimeters if it's 2 meters long, etc. At the end of this operation, the tensiometer must be given a value between minimum and maximum. Otherwise, the belt tension must be changed. I indicate the values of the tape A and tape B belts because they are the most installed models. The belt model followed by a number indicating its length is stamped on it. These data are very important because if you want to buy new belts from us, we need them to provide you with the correct ones. It's important to remember that incorrect tension shortens the life of the belt, bearing, and consequently of the whole transmission, especially if the belt is over-tensioned. To change the tension of the belt, it's necessary to act on the tie rod located in the front of the sleeve on which the motor rests to move it. First, by loosening, warning, I repeat, loosening and not removing the locking screw of the tie rod with a 10 millimeters wrench, and then acting on the tie rod with a racket wrench or a screwdriver equipped with a 22-side socket. By unscrewing, it reduces the tension, screwing, it increases. Once the work is finished, you can check that the tension is correct and then tighten the screw that locks the tie rod. The sleeve I'm showing you is the latest model we are using for our units. If the unit is many years old, the sleeve may be different, but the workers concept to be done is always the same. Um, Very important, if the unit downtime will be long, not just a few days, it needs to remove the belts and keep them in stock to preserve their integrity and carry out their control and lubrication, sorry, when the belts will be reassembled. At this point, it's possible to lubricate the belt with a spray product suitable for the purpose. I'm talking about a water-resistant silicone spray. Once the product has been sprayed onto each belt, rotate the transmission manually for a uniform distribution. Now we can move on the greasing the bearings. I remember every 4 months or 3,000 hours of operation. Above each support, there is a lubricator to which the pump nozzle must be connected. This is the nozzle and this is the pump, the proper pump. This pump must contain a lithium grease cartridge for bearings. The quantity of grease to be used corresponds to 3 pumpkins, just to understand the quantity of a soup spoon. Again, turn the transmission manually for even distribution. Remember, too little of grease will cause the bearing drying. If the grease is too much, it will come out of the bearing seals and will collect the dirty on the outside by introducing it into the bearing and will damage it. Now we can proceed the control of the inside of water collection basin. By the removal of the inspection door. After this, it's possible to remove the protection filter of the water outlet connection for cleaning and checking for signs of scale or corrosion on the internal panels. Regarding this eventuality, I allow myself to highlight a point. In addition to a proper maintenance, the life of a unit is also subject to a proper water treatment, which must be carried out by a specialized company. Upon delivery of a new unit, the customer receives the use and maintenance manual of the same, both by email and in a paper format. Inside the manual, there is a page containing a table showing the range of water chemical value. Who deals with the water treatment must refer to this table to carry out a correct activity. We remind you that in case of need, the manual is available and we can send it by mail at any time. That said, with the water inlet system always operating, the motor always off, we can proceed to check the water flow from the exchange coil on the bottom of the basin, from this to this. If the rain from the coin falls evenly from all surface, it means there are no clogging problems. Once these checks have been completed, the protection grids can be repositioned and stopped by fixing the bolts. Then proceed to checking the electric water circulation pump. It's a visual inspection aimed at checking there are no signs of wear in the casing and signs of scale or oxidation inside the terminal box after removing the cover of the same. Once this is done with the pump running, it can be verified that the data resulting from the electrical panel to which the pump is connected, voltage, absorption, etc., correspond to those shown on the plate applied to the pump itself. Now we proceed with the inspection of the exchange section. To do this, it's necessary to reach the aid of the drift eliminators. And if there is no presence of a ladder with platform installed on the unit, a component that we supplied on request as option with a new unit or as a spare in every time, it's necessary to use a lifting platform with all the necessary protection and safety devices. I mean safety belts, helmet, etc. Once you reach the drift eliminators, you need to remove them manually in order to check that there is no dirt or line scale inside them, which would compromise their efficiency. And then always with the water system running, to check that the water sprayed by nozzle is evenly covering the surface of the change coil and the surface itself is clean. If not, it's necessary to manually remove the secondary headers, the pipes to which the nozzle are connected, bring them to the ground and clean them with a pressure lens. If this is not enough, so they must be replaced, you know. As I explained before, it's necessary that the recirculated water sprayed by nozzle is properly treated to avoid falling problems on the coil. Consider that a 1 millimeter layer of limestone reduces the performance by 10%, 2 millimeters by 20%, and so on. In this case, you can contact a specialized company to carry out a chemical wash, but in my opinion, prevention is the best way. So, the exchanger coil. It consists from coils made of a hot dipper galvanized carbon steel. In the REF model, the fluid inside is always water. In the CFR model, the fluid inside is a chemical compound, mainly ammonia. This is the only difference between the two models. Obviously, I mean REF and CFR. After these last checks, we can reposition the drift eliminator and start the motor to return to 100% operating. So that's all. I remind you to follow us on our channels. I mean, on our website, among other things, you will find references on maintenance activities and spare parts. On our YouTube channel, you will find many tutorial videos about replacing components on our units and recordings on our webinars, including this one in a few time. On our LinkedIn page, you can find out our news and the dates of next webinars. I remind you, when I will close the session, you will see a short questionnaire about your satisfaction. Please fill it in because it will help us to improve. So, if you have some question, I'm at your disposal. Thank you too thank you to Mr. Amin. So if you need some clarification in the future, you can ask for us and by email, obviously. Will be great to have the presentation PowerPoint. Thank you to my colleague Arianna. Yes, for my team, for your team, Mr. Amin, is very important for guarantee a long life of a unit. How to calculate evaporate condenser evaporation rate? So, Mr. Dinesh, is a calculation that is the result of our software of selection, but is not the same. Every model have its evaporation. We need to know the model are you talking about? Thank you, Stefan. All the best to the entire team. Thank you to Mr. Adrian. So, Mr. Dinesh, I repeat, if you have a model on your disposal and you want information about it, you can write us an email or see our website. Thank you to Mr. El Wakil. Okay, we can return to our job. I just have to thank you for your attention, greet you, and remind you of stay tuned because evolution is cool. Have a good day to everybody and have a good job. See you soon.